once I graduated, which is like the best feeling ever, um, that is when the real struggle came. Um, because it was like I lost my safety net. Um, that was, at school, you got your own space, you have this big studio, you have this community that kind of helps you through this process, that gets it. Um, and once you graduate, well, for me at least, I kind of lost all of that. Um, so the following year after I graduated, my goal was to keep creating, to keep producing, and to become this artist that, sells work in galleries, and that has exhibitions and builds this group of collectors and eventually has work in museums, like I've seen so many artists do. But it was not that simple. And I knew it wasn't that simple, but I think in my mind and in my heart, that was the goal. Like, that's what I wanted. And of course, grad school was an option, but I kind of put that on the back burner because I wasn't thinking about grad school at the time. I just wanted to work and create until what I was creating could work for me. So after I graduated, I was not creating like I was so used to at school. Um, there would be plenty of days when I would just kind of walk past my studio space, having the desire to create, but not really having the push or the will to just simply come down here and create. Um, in school, I was I was known. I feel like I was known, and people would tell me that they kind of admired my confidence in my work and my knowledge in my work, um, and my knowledge of art and artists in general. Um, just always being able to tell somebody about an artist or give them advice on an artist or a technique that they should try. Um, and once I graduated, it's like all of that just kind of faded. Um, and it's because I no longer had this safety net, this comfortable place, these groups of people that could kind of help me and, foster me along this journey, along this journey. Um, and I kind of like, I was out on my own. Like, you're an independent artist now. You're no longer in school. You no longer have professors telling you what to create or telling you how to create. You have to figure this out on your own. You've laid the foundation. Now you have to go out into this world and figure out who you want to be as an artist. So I started questioning my work and questioning, well, is this really making an impact? Do people even look at my work at all? Will my work sell? And at the time, it wasn't selling. I would start creating smaller works, um, and they weren't selling. Um, and of course, that kind of weighs on your confidence. Like, okay, here I am, um, doing what I love to do. I'm telling a story through these paintings, but they're not selling. Um, is it the nature of my work? Is it the way they look? Is it because I'm painting clouds? Like, and then you have all these thoughts like, well, who wants clouds in their house? Like, who wants to buy that? Maybe you should change your work to this. And then you sometimes have people around you that don't get it. They're not artists. And you may share a piece with them and they're just kind of like, okay, that's nice, that's cute. But in that moment, I needed like reassurance of my work. I needed someone to say, well, this looks great, but maybe change this up, or, maybe add this color. I needed that sense of community. And on top of that, being in this social media world that we're in now, it was hard to sometimes scroll on Instagram or Facebook, anywhere, and just see so many successful artists, even artists that graduated from West Georgia with me, just being so successful in their work, and selling paintings and doing what they love for a living. And we all know that social media is one big show. Like it's not real. Everybody doesn't show the background, the backstory. They don't show the struggles. And I knew that, but at the same time, it was challenging for me, and weighed on my confidence as an artist because I felt like I was behind. I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't sharing my work enough, or maybe it was the message of my work that people did not want a part of. So that year, 2020, started off very challenging. And then you have, let me backtrack. I was about to do a pop-up shop with West Elm, the furniture and home store. And I was getting ready for that. I was excited, like, yes, finally I get to share my work in a different setting and hopefully get new collectors. People have my pieces in their homes. And then COVID, my girl COVID, I believe she's a girl. COVID just took that away completely. The pop-up did not happen. And it was like, wow. Like you almost had this moment, and then this came out of nowhere and just took it away so quickly. So I did not have the pop-up. And I was hurt, I was upset, like, okay, so what can I do now that this isn't happening? So I did a virtual pop-up from home. And I was, talking about my work a little bit, trying to step out of my comfort zone, go live on Facebook and Instagram and talk about my work, because I'm not really a talker. In my head, I'm not really a talker. So it was uncomfortable for me, but I still wanted to put myself out there. So I did the pop-up, and it was okay. I sold a couple journals, but did not sell any of my paintings. And so that made me look at my pricing. In that my journals were, of course, inexpensive, the typical price range for a journal. But my pieces, my paintings, were a little more on the expensive side. And not everybody has like $1,000 or $500 just laying around. But I think that's another thing that kind of a punch to my confidence in my work, the value of my work. And I'm pretty sure that's a struggle across the board for a lot of artists, just figuring out what price do I put on this piece that I've poured so much into. And people don't realize you've poured so much into that when you put a price on it. So I started struggling with, well, do I essentially devalue some of my paintings and lower the prices on them? So that's what I did on some of my paintings. I lowered the price of them on my website. And even in that, they still didn't sell. um, and aside from my paintings not selling, I was trying to enter into art shows and exhibitions, and I would not get accepted. That is like the one of the most hurtful feelings, is getting an email that, I'm sorry, we will not be accepting your work for this show, or I'm sorry, you won't be considered for this. And another punch to my confidence. It's like, your work isn't selling, you're not getting into exhibitions, you're just painting. You're just painting. And I had to find peace in, you're just painting, because I wasn't just painting. I had to remind myself that this is worship for you. This is where God meets you. God meets you in this studio space. God meets you on this canvas, in these brush strokes. This is your intimate moment with Him. And you've completely walked away from that moment because you're too worried about what others are saying, what they're not buying, is my work affecting them, and everything like that. And so in that, in all of this, in this entire journey up to this point, I am learning who I am as an artist. I am still learning who I am as an artist and who I want to be in this marketplace. I feel like I kind of had to shift my focus, because when I was in school, I feel like professors kind of, and this is not anything against them at all, but I feel like their focus is to get you in an exhibition. Their focus is to get you on a gallery level and then to a museum level, because that is, in most people's minds, that's the top tier. Like, that's, once you get there, that's it. Like, you made it. And that's the mindset that I had. Like, you have to be a gallery artist. You have to be an artist that's just has all these exhibitions. This is where you have to be. You know, it's cool for some people to sell their work commercially, or do whatever it is with their work, but gallery work is having collectors. That's the main level. That's the goal. And I'm at a point now where I don't feel like that is where I'm supposed to be. My desire has always been, the main desire has always been to share my work and to share this experience around the world, and to share this love and to share this light around the world. And for me as an artist, that may not be in a museum. That might be in a collection. That might be having my work on products, and selling my work myself. And I am finding peace and joy in that thought and in that decision, and in this new shift that I am in with the direction of my work, and this confidence that is growing in me, and that is believing and showing up for myself in these paintings. And so I am at the point now where I am taking a new direction with my work. Like, I'm shifting my focus. I am focusing more on still creating constantly, whether that be small works or large scale works. Just creating the experience and creating this light in these paintings. Even if it doesn't get in a museum, I will still create. Even if it doesn't get in a gallery, I will still create. Even if my work is just in homes and hearts, of people around me, that is fine with me, because it is all about being that light. That's the end goal. Be that light, be that vessel, um, through these paintings, through these colors. And so that is where I am now. Um, Aside from painting, I started my pursuit of graduate school. And my goal was to go to Georgia State. I had some of my professors went to Georgia State. Um, I took a tour of Georgia State, met some of their graduate students at the time, you know, seen their studios, fell in love with the university. So I applied, and I literally submitted everything the day of the deadline. So I'm praying like, Lord, okay, you know, I know it's the final day, and that's the wrong thing to do when you're applying for grad school. It's always the goal to apply early, but praise God, I got it in. Um, Submitted the application, and I was getting nervous and frustrated because a few months had gone by and I didn't hear anything. And in that time frame, I was really doubting that I was getting into GSU. I was unsure. Like I would go up and down. Like, okay, I'm gonna get accepted. Everything's fine. Don't worry. And then the next day, it would be, it's not looking too good. Like I don't think you're gonna get in. So you just need to prepare yourself now and be okay. So of course, everyone is around me, you know, being encouraging, and uplifting, and, you know, telling me not to doubt, don't worry. And then one day I get an email from GSU, and I was scared to open the email, but of course just had to snatch the band-aid off, had to open it. And, you know, they were telling me, you kind of know when an email starts off with, we had this amount of applicants, and it was a hard decision, and unfortunately you have not been accepted into the program. And I was just like, wow, like, you didn't get accepted into GSU. Who doesn't get accepted into GSU? Like, it's Georgia State. What was it about me, or what was it about my work that wasn't accepted? Like, here I go again, back to these negative thoughts of, was it the message? Was it the way that I paint? Was there no consistency? Like, I have all these questions going through my head. And my mentor, I was telling her that I did not get accepted, and she said, you did not get accepted because you were not supposed to. And that it was time for me to go on to the other school that I was interested in. And I'm still in that process. So, though in that moment I was a little hurt that I did not get accepted into Georgia State, I quickly got over it, because you have to keep going. You can't just dwell in that hurtful moment, because if you sit there too long, you might get stuck there. So I had to pull myself out and say, okay, yes, you didn't get accepted, but it's time to move forward. It's time to keep pressing. It's time to keep painting, and keep pursuing this passion that you are so very passionate about. So here we are, in this new place, in this new space of painting, of creating, of shedding light, of shedding love, of creating experiences, of being everything that God desires Shardea Jones to be. So I thank you for joining me on Behind the Paint. I hope you will continue to support me along this journey, and I look forward to sharing with you. Mwah.